respects votes. And we have enough
HeartCity
voting power to change anything that needs to be changed.
Politics, progress, game boards, objects viewed like pawns till we change up our mindset. Value of the dollars at the center of this conflict. Their lives only matter if they serve to make a profit. But if a midget sees further on the shoulders of the giant, then we should see further than the tyrant and build a future within the alliance where success is our science in the quest to go higher. It's the heart of the city. Wake up, world. You are watching HeartCity TV. I'm your host, Malik Boyd. I hope that wherever you are, you're in good spirits and all is truly well. The show topic today, how sweet the sound. Some of you church folk know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, that is a phrase from an amazing hymn. However, we're talking about defining the sounds of progress for Black America. It is essentially a new season. I will not say it is a new day. Indeed, there are so many more things that we have to contend and face with on a continual basis. We talked with folk all this week, especially some of our seasoned saints, if you understand that moniker and term. And they talk about how some of the same things that they faced during their time still exist right now in this moment. And so it is really crucial that we understand not only where we've come from, but also understand where we need to go and understand how to work in harmony to create a sweet sound of our people, of our culture, of our community, and ultimately lead into a continued course of progress for time to come. Now, if you're following the news, obviously there is much to talk about. The stimulus bill will be voted on. You see that at the bottom of the screen. That vote is happening today in the House, but separate of the House vote, there are still tremendous issues that we deal with across the community and really across the country. I want to be honest about this and make sure that we all understand each city is facing, yes, some unique challenges, but nonetheless, some similar challenges, especially in urban centers. Right now, they're talking about the funding for Black farmers. We know that Black farmers have been disproportionately discriminated against, and resources have not been properly given to these Black farmers. They have lost out on billions of dollars. And so this concept of 40 acres and a mule, there are some that have more than 40 acres and still suffering on a day-to-day basis. And so it's important that even if you are in an urban area, that you're paying attention to what's happening to our farmers, to our minority farmers in the space, those who are of color, but providing produce for the country and using the land to grow. It's so crucial that we know that they're taken care of and that resources are happening for them as well, even as we talk about what's happening in our urban and commercial corridors. Yes, violence still is prevalent in a ton of our urban areas, but there's hope. Around the country, we're having conversations with leaders who are saying that they see an uptick in individuals willing to stand up and speak out. They see an uptick in policing measures from the community, from town watch groups and CDCs who are getting together to say enough is enough, especially as we talk about the violence that is happening to our young people. And so, you know, we always start this show off in prayer. And so I'm going to ask you to join with me as we go into our 2-minute prayer for the city. Heavenly Father, we come before you just to say thank you, recognizing that this day is not promised. We offer it back to you from whence it came. We ask you to be with us now. You know the issues, and it is far beyond the faith that you can handle the issues, but the works that we must do to match the power that you have. And so we ask you to give us the strength to work together, no longer just individual and for ourselves, but allow us to be a collective mirror by which you can see yourself in our work and our action. We ask you to bless our leaders, give them balance, give them a pragmatic approach to the issues of the day, knowing that it is not enough just to take care of the North and see the South, East, and West crumble, knowing that all of us need support, wisdom, resource, and connectivity, that what happens to one happens to us all, and allow them to be reminded of that as they go through their day and make the decisions for this country. Allow our local leaders to have the strength that they need to deal with the issues that go beyond the news cameras. Give them the strength to be the light that you would have for them to be on their sides of the kingdom, wherever that may be in this country. We ask you to be with the nation as a whole as we recover from the issues that have plagued us through COVID-19. It goes far beyond health, but you know that already. You are the chief provider, omnipotent, powerful in all your ways. And so we ask you to release just a bit of that power on these issues, on these opportunities for our people, for your people, to be able to prosper and grow and become what we are to be in this season. Bless all those who are under the sound of my voice and those who are unable to watch, unable to view. Be with them wherever they may be, and allow all of us to return home safely and see our loved ones once again. And we'll be careful to give your name the honor and praise. Amen. So thank you so much for joining me in prayer. We are now covered. I'm so excited about this show. We have some amazing guests on the show. We're going to end the show with the Reverend Dr. J. Henry Buck from the legendary Grace Baptist Church here in Philadelphia. You're going to hear about him and his great work. We're also going to talk about Coming to America 2. Yes, Philly, you played a role in that. All right. There's some folk in there that we need to acknowledge, talk about, those that you've seen in front of the camera and behind the camera as well. There's also tons of EKGs for us to discuss. All that and more is on the other side. Take out your stethoscope. You're watching HeartCity TV.
To see what $2.5 trillion in spending power can really do? You ready to pool these resources and rebuild our infrastructure?
You ready to support your sisters and brothers that are building businesses at record rates?
This what trust looks like, what love looks like, what us looks like, yeah.
You ready to give back to the culture that's given you so much? You ready to continue the legacy of Black economic excellence? You ready to work hard and play harder? You ready to let the black dollar circulate?
This what trust looks like, what love looks like, what us looks like, yeah. New type of leveling, new type of excellence.
You ready for a banking platform designed for us to win?
¿Estás listo para unirte en nuestra colección de soñadores?
You ready for this marathon to continue? You ready to bet on black for real? Then get ready for Greenwood.
New type of leveling, new type of excellence.
This is our time.
The star of the winter show is...
Good evening. All schools across the country will close by the end of the week until further notice as coronavirus reached Illinois.
Yo, what's up? This is Will I Am, and you're watching HeartCity TV.
We are back. You're watching Heart City TV. The show is brought to you by Deshuri CBD products. Make sure you check them out at my Deshuri, DASHURI.com. Now, I want to bring this brother in. The legendary Grace Baptist Church right here in Philadelphia is an institution unlike any other. They have done tremendous work through the halls of history as it relates to the spiritual work, but then also community. Pastor, Reverend Dr. J. Henry Buck is now leading the charge in the center chair as the senior servant in the space. He is a brother, he is a friend, he is a mentor, he is a community leader. And so when we talk about the sound of our community, much of that relies not just from the choirs and the pews that exist, but from the work done and making sure that that work is ever present. I am excited that he is with us. I'm excited that he's going to finish this hour because there's some things I want to talk about and get off of my chest. There are some questions that I want to ask. And I know a lot of times, we get these comments all the time around, well, what does Malik feel? And what's Malik's frustrations? And what does he think about as it relates to the issues of the day? You're going to see me go on the chair today and sit and talk to a trusted leader in the space. Before we get to him, I want to talk to a young lady who has done some amazing work now, Coming to America too. We all have seen it by now. Everybody's played it at least once or twice, okay? Now, yes, Mike Blackson's in it. We're going to shout out Mike. Yeah, that's our guy. We recognize how much they have paid attention to other characters and brought them in as well, and then introduced individuals like Wesley Snipes and others. You see hip-hop legends as a role. But what we don't pay attention to are the ones behind the scenes. We hear their voices. They play a major role in making some things sound absolutely beautiful, and we have no idea who they are. Well, Philadelphia area, stand up. One of yours has done some amazing work in the space. Lydia, Rene, she is a tremendous artist. She's an activist, a social entrepreneur, and she played a role in Coming to America too. And so without further ado, a warm welcome home to you, Lydia. Thank you so much for joining us on Heart City.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
So I saw the TikTok, right? So
yes.
This amazing TikTok, Kendall sent it over, and you are you're showing this scene.
Yeah.
And I'll let you talk about the scene and set it up, but you're showing this scene and Coming to America too, and you're kind of like just pointing at the screen. Right. And then you let us know that voice is me. And if that wasn't enough, you stopped it and gave them some bars, of which I'm going to ask the Lord to put it on your heart to give us some bars.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
You knew it was coming. It's Philly. You know it's coming, right?
Yeah, I know.
Talk about this scene. Talk about the experience of being in arguably one of the most anticipated sequels.
Right.
The culture.
This has been a long time coming. Me and the other singers actually started working on this way back in 2019, pre-pandemic, when, we could go in the studio, we could be around people.
The good old days.
Yeah. And that's, I know, we miss it so much. That's when we were able to record some of those other songs, like the Gladys Knight song, Midnight Train to Zamunda, that's all of us on there, and many other tracks. But the composer told me, he was like, you're gonna have to sing a solo, but I have to circle back to you. Fast forward to 2020, around October, because of the pandemic, all of the music for the score, most of it had to be finished at home. So me, drummers, bass players, everybody had to record these songs from home. So when he was like, this is your moment, you have to do this solo,
Right.
I was a little nervous at first, like, oh wow, this is actually happening.
Yeah. But here's the thing. So we used to always think we couldn't wait to get to Sigma Sound, or we couldn't wait for, Tom Coyne and Sterling to mix our records, and we wanted to get to the Hit Factory, right? And sit in the room where Mike Jackson did his album. And you're like, no, we did Coming to America too. We did that was at home. I patted the bathroom and gave it the business. And a major motion picture, is now part of the history books.
I know, which is so amazing. I was so blessed and honored to be a part of this iconic film. When we were recording, I just had a baby. She kept waking up. She kept crying. We kept having to go back and finish it. We were fighting against lawnmowers and people trying to do things outside at 1 a.m. It was a journey for sure. But the composer told me that this was a really important scene and that I really, really, really had to nail this because this was an emotional scene. Hakeem is, trying to woo his wife back and let her know she's always been his queen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just pleased at how emotional and, awesome it came through. I'm just really excited about it and pleased at how it turned out when I actually saw it on Amazon.
Play out, right? So talk about that scene. Hakeem is at the bottom of the stairs with the orchestra, right? He's got the Justin Timberlake, Timberland background behind him, and he's looking up at his wife, and it's you doing the singing.
I know. Honestly, they really didn't tell us too much. They told us a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But they really don't tell you a whole lot. You almost have to wait until the premiere of the movie comes out because they don't want you talking about it. They don't want you to leak the information.
Going on Oprah with the story.
But I knew that it was I know.
But pray for me for that one. It was too easy. It was right there. I had to go get it.
It's all good. I knew that it was an important scene, and I knew that I had to do my best, and I had to dig deep emotionally because when we were recording that, my husband, shout out to him, my husband Brian was helping me. He was as my recording engineer to help me do all the stuff. And we were taking a break. I have one song left. And all of a sudden, he couldn't find any of the files.
Oh, Lord.
They were gone. And I almost had a complete meltdown. And in the middle of that, someone else called me, another client called me to record something else. And they needed it at 8 a.m. And I just sat in the car.
Oh, I get it.
This, and I was like, Lord, I need help.
Listen, the MacBook ministry just failed me this week. I prayed to the Lord, to baby Jesus with the tuxedo shirt. Come by here, my Lord. Help me out. Now, and Pro Tools, so for those who don't understand the complexity of losing a song, okay? All the stacking vocals, I mean, the mix, the presets, all that good stuff. When you can't find it, oh my goodness.
So thankfully, obviously, you heard me in the film. So we got it together after hours. He was able to find it on the cloud somewhere, and we were able to finish our work. But let me tell you, that was some of the hardest, and anyone will tell you, that was some of the hardest work that I've ever done. But I'm so glad that I did it and that I was asked to do it. It was definitely a blessing.
We're glad. that you push through because your voice is absolutely beautiful. Shout out to your husband on the engineering and IT ministry. Give him a fist bump for me. Thank you, bruh, for putting it all together. And so Mount Holly, with New Jersey, where you're from, you know, legends in the making right here. And so Mount Holly has reason to stand up. The Philadelphia, Delaware Valley community has reason to stand up. Can you do me a favor? You know where I'm getting ready to go next. I'm putting the ball right by the rim. Can you sing just a little bit of that record that is now immortalized by Eddie Murphy looking up at his wife in the movie?
Sure. To be loved, to be loved. Whoa, what a feeling to be loved.
Look at God. Won't he do it? So I heard all the little runs that you put in there. I mean, you definitely took it to church. All right. So you were kind of like in between like traditional Baptist, Southern Baptist, and then you put a little, music conference on it just to let them know. Music conference? I see you. So here's the thing. That's an iconic song.
It is.
We know Eddie singing that in the middle of the street at night, and the old white lady, will you shut up? We know all of that part, right?
Yes.
You got a chance to take the most recognizable record,
right,
and give it some flair, some Black excellence all over again. How does it feel?
I think I'm still kind of processing it a little bit because it just happened. It's almost surreal sometimes when you see or hear your voice on TV or in a movie or in something, but I definitely realize how great it is. I feel super honored, super blessed. I feel like I am so proud to be a part of something that I've been a fan of for years, since I was a kid. I remember the first time I saw Coming to America, and I feel like I've been watching it like every weekend ever since because you just have to keep rewatching it. It's that funny. So to be a part of something that I was a fan of as a child, also to sing such an iconic song, it just feels amazing. I'm very, very happy, pleased, grateful, and just very grateful and blessed to be a part of it.
Listen, we are blessed and grateful that you had this opportunity. You know, many of us talk about what happens in front of the camera. We forget the hundreds of individuals behind the camera making it all happen. And the complexity that goes into each scene is so important for us to note. And so I need you to know, as we close this up, we love you, we honor you, we appreciate you. You are a part of history. I need you to know that you are a part of history. And so your husband is also a vital part as well, being able to save the file, right? He gets the NAACP Image Award for technical assistance on the Sound Files ministry.
Listen, he does.
Before I close up, what's next for you?
What's next? Well, I'm working on my next single. I'm going to try to release that this month, but also I'm working on my next album, which will be inspired by my life now, my life as a mother now, my story, everything that I've been through. So we're working on that from the house.
That's how it goes.
I'm hoping by the end of the year, we will be able to release that.
I'm looking forward to it. Know that you have a home here. So
thank you.
By all means, as that record gets released and the single drops, we will do everything that we can to promote and push you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So thankful. Now you're on West Coast, so I know this was a little bit of a stretch. Calling in, but I thank you for doing just that. Give my love to the family.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we have heard from Lydia Rene, who broke down one of the most iconic records of really Black culture that we know. I mean, all of us have sung that portion of the movie in some way, shape, or form. Some of us have done it with hitting them notes, and some of us have been slightly under the notes, and some of us might not even be on the note. Nonetheless, history is being recreated with this amazing opportunity. I'm getting ready to go to our EKGs. I'm excited about these EKGs and the ones who are going to join me in that space. None other than Dominique Johnson, community advocate. It is so good to see you. Welcome home.
Same here.
So, social service. You've been in the game working with youth in urban communities for over 10 years. 10 years. I know you've seen a lot. And I want to honor Christian Street YMCA. So those who know.
You better know the history. You better know history.
Listen, come on, somebody. And so you put in your grind there. I honor you and appreciate you for that. Talk really quickly about what's happening in the space and what those who may not be engaged in youth advocacy or, you know, some of these community efforts that you're engaged in, what we need to know.
I think it's just getting connected, figuring out what's happening in your neighborhood. And you can always, social media is tell you what's going on in your neighborhood.
Yeah, indeed.
Hashtags will let you know what's happening in your neighborhood. So for me, I kind of dabble in a lot of different arenas and bridge like entertainment and fashion. I have friends that work in entertainment, fashion. So I try to bring some of that to where the places I serve. On a 9 to 5, I work with parents who have children in foster care. So a lot of my efforts are going into that right now, making sure we're building up strong people, strong parents, especially during the time when they feel even more handicapped.
Right.
During the pandemic. And there is so many more limits to what they can do to be on the track to reunification. So that's where most of my focus is going. A lot of people ask me about foster care. If you want to kind of get involved with foster care, I can definitely help connect you to some proper agencies. But right now I'm trying to build up strong parents so we can have strong children.
Strong parents for strong children. Lord knows that's a whole workshop in itself. And I'm excited about the work that you're doing. I think it's really crucial. We talk about children and their vulnerabilities. What we often don't talk about is the vulnerability of the parents who are going, you know, sometimes bending over backwards 3 and 4 times trying to make a semblance of quality of life for themselves and their children. And so I honor you for giving and providing resources for them as well. I'm excited to hear your advice and wisdom and perspective on our EKGs. And you also have a friend who's joining you in the mix. My brother Martin Pratt is in the building. Brother, it's good to see you. Welcome back home to Heart City.
Hey, thank you for having me.
You are the co-founder of Philly, Your Black Voice. For those who know, they know about what Martin Pratt has done in the space, man. You are a leader in the journalism community, in the tech community, have done a tremendous amount to amplify our voice. You see what's going on in the community. Really quickly, talk about, from your perspective, some of the things that you see that the community, the heart of the city, needs to know.
Well, I think that it feels like right now that the administration is a little bit disingenuous about where we are as a city when it comes to gun violence and when it comes to getting access to vaccinations, and also when it comes to, you know, supporting the leading organization that has been leading the charge and making sure the Black 40% of the city is vaccinated, which is the Black Doctors Consortium. And one of the things that was at the press conference yesterday that Dr. Farley said is that our caseload is our cases of infection is actually increasing. He didn't say it was increasing by a lot, but my concern, and we've seen this before last year, right before I think it was Memorial Day, we saw our cases increasing, and then once the beaches opened up in Jersey and everybody rushed to Jersey and came back, we saw a lot of our cases increasing. So my question to Dr. Farley was, what solutions are you thinking about when it comes to technology? There are actually several technology solutions out, and I've been kind of slowly, you know, pushing them in this direction with my questions about technology. There's actually a brother that owns a tech company in Louisiana, and he, along with others, have the ability to do what's called photo. I want to make sure I get it right. It's the ability to take a virus or a viral germ in the air and kill the virus germ.
Wow.
NASA uses that technology.
Wow.
And so I've asked about not just air filters, but this technology. And Dr. Farley has acknowledged that it exists, but he's not really, pushing it. And I'm concerned that as we open up, the only technology we have is to be not in space, or not at school, or not wear masks, and so, or get vaccinated. And that's not the only technology that Philadelphia has.
Right.
Or any city has the ability. And I'm really concerned about that. But I'm also, as you asked about, the community is really upset and concerned about the gun violence. And it doesn't seem like Philadelphia administration, whether it's, I would even say some of the city council members are kind of disingenuous about this increase we've seen in the last 3 months. It's just been ridiculous. And so that's a concern that I think that we as a city have, that maybe our elected officials are not necessarily right on top of. And it seems to be like the community organizers, the community activists, the citizens are out in the street trying to figure this out by ourselves.
Yeah. And there's a lot to navigate. I mean, obviously, as an elected, you're trying to make sure that you spread a message of hope, and that the solution, and at the same time, you got to deal with the realities of it. In the midst of COVID, nobody wants to hear as well, look, we're failing in this, right? Nonetheless, a solution has to happen, because, to your point, lives are in jeopardy. I mean, quite frankly, every day we're dealing with another death, another murder, another life lost at the hands of violence. And so, listen, brother, I honor you for bringing that to the forefront and challenging our health commissioners and department heads around new technology use. What good is the brain trust that we have if it's only going to be used for the next PlayStation and not for some, real powerful applications, especially as it relates to COVID. So I just got a church head nod from your partner in crime. So I know we're good to go in that space. Are you both ready for the EKGs?
Let's go.
Oh my goodness, there's much to be had. Here we go.
This is the EKG, the part of the show where we place America front and center on the monitors of the American people. We will look for irregularities in the heartbeat, offer solutions on the issues we find in order to make America healthy once again. So fire up the machine. Let's start the EKG.
All right, so this week's EKGs are brought to you by Deshuri CBD products. Make sure you check them out at mydeshuri.com. I'll give you the first one. This is really reason to celebrate.
I love it.
The NFL makes Maya Shaka its first Black female official. The first, and certainly not the last. Dominique, I'm gonna throw this one right to you. You know it was going to you. How does it feel? Because for years, brothers have said, look, just let me watch my game in peace. Let me have my lemonade and my ribs, and I'm just going to watch my favorite team. And we go to the man cave with our boys, and that's where we hang. Now there's some women that love football and understand football, and now there's a reason for all of us to come together and celebrate excellence on the field. There's now a minority woman.
So I always wanted to be this type of woman.
Really?
I was raised by my father. I wanted to be the woman that could really run with it's a few women that can sit with the guys and run with the rest of them during football and basketball seasons. And I always tell them they're winning. That's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
And so to see this lady on the field, gearing up to get on the field, it's just exciting. I'm just hoping that the second won't be multiple years away from now. So I'm loving it. I'm going to tune in. As soon as she figures out what her team is in her rotation, I'm going to tune in. I'm a supporter. I'm going to act like I know what's going on. She's officiating the Eagles game, then I can really
we can really turn it up. I'm with you. So Martin, listen, you know, as a official at the high school level, I watch minorities and the challenges that we face in being able to get to the next level. You watch how those who are young get promoted of other color, of other race, and our folk tend to get some of the most challenging games and the most challenging locations with the least experienced crew. Well, we've seen one finally break the barrier as it relates to women of color. What's your feel on that? What do you think the trajectory is? And more importantly, really quickly, what do you think the community needs to do to help further this goal?
Well, a friend of mine and an ex-client, the commissioner of the CIA, I'm sorry, the SIAC. I always get the CIAA and the SIAC wrong.
CIAA is good too. Shout out.
Commissioner Moore was the first person in college football to have women officiate and to be referees and on the field. So I know Commissioner Moore always said that, you know, it's high time. I think he did this like 3 years ago. ESPN and Sports Illustrated reported on the fact that HBCUs were the first to actually do this in college. And so to that point, I think that the community in general of you know, of NFL players or / fans need to tweet it out. I think I've seen it a couple places. I don't think I've seen it, you know, obviously as much as kneeing videos and memes and stuff like that. So I think I would love to see the community really take to social media and support the sister, make her name a trending topic, especially when she's on the field. You know, I think that would be cool for her to walk the field and see, you know, 1,001 tweets and Instagram reposts. Though, of course, it's a double-edged sword.
It is.
Because when everybody's, you know, when everybody, how do we say?
You want me to do it? The FCC ain't gonna chop me up for it. I can do it.
No. I was gonna say when everybody has a wrong call, you know, when everybody gets angry, we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
And you know, that's gonna be something that really we're gonna have to support her. You know, so it's gonna be a lot of racist trolls. It's gonna be, you know, so I think to your point about the community, and particularly when you talk about in a day and age of social media, and now we're doing Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, which is social audio. We're gonna have to be intentional about how we utilize our social currency and capital.
Correct.
And so that support, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, go sister. Now when she, you know, she says that the Cowboys beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, we need y'all to show up that same energy to protect our sister. I think that's one of the big issues is Black women on social media have felt unsafe for a decade or so. And so I would love to see community show up with the same energy to support her as the same energy when everybody feels she got the call wrong.
So listen, especially if you officiated a game in the hood, you know what it's like to have people feel like you've gotten the call wrong. It's another thing to have millions of people
anywhere.
Oh my goodness! Right at the Wawa while you're getting gas, boy.
Even when he says protect her, when he says protect her, we also got to think about the system that she's working within.
Come on.
I've seen an interview from her where she says she knows that there has been rules and regulations put in place to keep her from getting here before she got here.
Absolutely.
And so we have to protect. She needs to be protected on both ends. The brothers, the other officiates that's in this, Black or white, I don't care, need to protect her. In general, need to stand up and not let anything happen that's not right to her. That's my biggest thing when it comes to it. Like, she needs protection all the way around. We need to treat it like it's a jewel. It's a jewel, and we have to treat it like such from everyone.
No, you're spot on. So before I go, I want to make sure that people connect with the two of you So Dominique, I'm gonna start with you really quickly. Tell the broadcast audience how they can connect with you. I know you talked about foster home opportunities and foster parent opportunities, but those who are listening to you and saying, you know what, I have some resources that I want to bring to the table. I like what Dominique is talking about, and I want to make sure that I support her and shore her up. How does one connect with you and your movement?
The easiest way to connect with me is on Instagram. I'm a social media fanatic. So Dominique Nashe on Instagram. And then I have a new baby, a body care line, Skin by B-Side.
Come on.
You can find me in 2 places. And we can talk.
There you go. So broadcast audience, you heard. Bring the resources for the community to bear, right? And you can find Dominique on the gram. And while you do that, pull out a couple dollars, your PayPal account,
slide on
over to the body care line and get yourself right. There you go. We're gonna make sure that we post those links on our social media pages. So Martin, you're finishing the gap here, my brother. Tell the broadcast audience how they connect with the empire that you have built.
They can just follow me on any social media platform. It's L as in Lawrence, M as in Martin, J as in Junior, Pratt, and so that's everywhere. And I definitely want to say, to the audience, let's this year 2021, let's be very intentional and care for each other. We're going to be facing some very significant increases in depression and suicide. And at the same time, we're getting ready for the stimulus money. The average family will get almost $10,000. Please, please, I'm begging everyone to be very conservative with that money. That may be the only money you see, again, from the United States government for several decades. So please, don't go out here and spend the money unwisely. And please, if you know anybody that's considering buying a weapon with that money, we know in Philadelphia that has been what has some people feel like it has happened when the last stimulus money came. So let's please don't buy weapons with the stimulus money.
Listen, you've heard some wise wisdom from Martin Pratt. Please tell Ray and Junebug and little Lawrence, chill out. All right, that stimulus money is meant to stimulate the family, the needs of the community, not the illicit trade. And so have some conversation with young brothers, especially those of faith. It's more than time for us to get out and make a difference and have some dialogue on our blocks, because we have to protect our sisters offline and online, as Martin and Dominique brought out. I love you both. Thank you so much for breaking down the EKG with us. We're going to make sure that we post each of your platforms and continue to pump the great work that you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
So we've heard from 2 amazing individuals. Dominique, you have to check her out and the great work that she's doing in the foster care space, but then also in the skin care line. We have to support Black businesses. 68% are not returning those who have been of brick and mortar status. And we haven't even begun to calculate the individuals who are internet based, who are unable to sustain their models as well. We need to support each other and make sure that the next phase of the economy is able to include Black businesses. I'm going to a break. On the other side, my brother, the Reverend Dr. J. Henry Buck Jr. from the legendary Grace Baptist Church. He'll be with us. You'll hear from him.
Philadelphia OIC fights poverty with education and job training. OIC will prepare you for a career with good wages. Learn about free training programs at philaoic.org or call 215-236-7700. We operate a safe environment with masks and social distancing. For a better tomorrow, call Philadelphia OIC.
So we are back. This brother, again, a mentor, a friend, juggernaut in the space as it relates to community engagement, political advocacy. He is not afraid to sit in the boardroom and tell it like it is. Some of y'all know exactly why I put that T there. His brand of advocacy is not only one to follow, but a great one to emulate. Building the intellectual capacity with the workhorse mentality, making sure whether you're on the front line or the back line, that the energy is the same and providing solutions for our people. I am excited to have him with us. Doc, welcome back home to Heart City, brother. It's great to have you with us, man.
My friend, my brother.
Yes,
thank you
sir.
so much, Brother Malik. Man, it's a pleasure to be at Heart of the City Radio, which I call affectionately the flagship of Black Media Foundation.
Man,
so man, thank you guys so much, to you and all of your staff, all of your listeners. Let me say this, and I put this plug in myself. There is no other radio station, there is no other live broadcast. And I'm letting you know that I think somebody needs to make sure that they watch what Malik Boyd and Heart of the City Radio is doing, because this is worthy of a national broadcast. So I would just like to encourage all of those who are watching, speak this brother up, speak this network up, speak this platform up. It is one that is marvelous and tremendous. So thank you all for what you're doing, man. You guys stay encouraged. I know you guys do a lot of pouring into us. But there comes a time when we have to pour into you and your staff. And so I just want to say to you and everybody at Heart of the City Radio, thank you for being the flagship of Black Media Foundation. God bless you all.
Let me tell you, with that, we're going to do the benediction, and I'm going to come give you a socially distanced hug. Yeah. I was just telling Kendall, I said, look, I'm not feeling it, man. Like I'm trying my best. Yeah, with everything that's going on in the world, you know, and skip what you got going on for yourself. When you add that in, you know, there are just days where you're like, I need more than 89 in the tank. I gotta get at least 91. You know, hopefully a dash of 93. And so I honor you, brother.
I honor you guys, man. It was a privilege to, as I say once again, in any time, Brother Boyd, anytime, you know, Malik affectionately. But anytime, man, I'm on a phone call, a text message, an email away. I support Heart of the City Radio wholeheartedly.
I appreciate you, brother. I need your expertise, man. We are in this new season. And I hope that we're past this space of waiting for political heroes to come save Black culture. I think we've learned that lesson. Nonetheless, we're in this new political season. One that has COVID hanging on, is essentially going to be a part of the fabric, the future fabric of not just America, but the world. Blacks are now disproportionately even more impacted at a health space, and then even more in the economic space as well. So time for, you know, and I get it, praise and worship is a good thing. We're going to praise God for all his acts and his mighty works. But now it's time for action. There's time to address the charge that has been laid before us. You're doing that in the space, not just at Grace, but you're providing a blueprint nationally. What are some of the things that we're missing? What are our blind spots as the culture that we need to pay attention to now?
Thank you so much, Brother Malik. There is a disease. There's a virus. We talk about the coronavirus, but there has been a virus that has plagued society, humanity for many years, and that's of course racism. That's discrimination. Yeah. But if I could be much more direct, cultural internally, there's the problem of colorism. And then there's the problem of regional religious influences and regional religious beliefs and all of these kinds of categories and chasms.
Right.
I believe that where we are right now is a moment to put aside our so-called agendas, our so-called progressive ideas, and really attend to the needs, the concerns, something that's really, and I was listening to your last guest, but we haven't seen what depression is going to look like.
Oh, wow.
When we come out of this, there is compound depression that we're going to have to deal with. And now when you talk economics, historically, and I to be honest with you, and I'm going to use a very harsh term. I hate hearing the term historical discrimination, historical racism, because it says that we have not learned. And so in this present day and age, economically, we have to look at our internal resources. And I say this once again, we have to look at resources like Heart of the City Radio. We have to look at resources that are going to build and put the agenda of the Negro. And I know a lot of folk don't like to say that, but I'm from Mississippi. But we have to put the agenda of the Negro back in front. I was doing some reading once before, and I was doing some reading on Carter G. Woodson. I was doing some reading on Booker T. Washington, W.B. Du Bois. But here's one thing that a lot of people do not know. We argue a lot about W.E. Bois' intellectualism. But as W.B. Du Bois got a little bit older, he began to move away from intellectualism and move into the context of action and active, almost to a certain degree, where what he and Booker T. Washington was arguing about, W.E.B. Du Bois actually became activists and begin to sign on with the same mentality to a certain degree. So here's what I'm saying.
Right.
What we have to do now in what we should have been doing, churches, all of our institutions, we have been catalysts for economic change, economic shift, economic reinventions, reimaginations. Some of your first churches was the opportunity for poor blacks to bring all of their pennies, nickels, and quarters together and be able to purchase land. And out of purchasing that land, they understood the value, and they began to put out entrepreneurship. They began to fund beauty salons. They began to fund restaurants. They began to fund all of these kinds of things. What I do believe, and this is probably going to cause some degree of discomfort, what I do believe is the church has become very lazy. And so we have bought into the idea of gimme, 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 rather than sharing, or to whom much is given, much is required. When was the last time you heard of a church opening up a restaurant? When was the last time you heard of a church opening up a hotel? When was the last time you heard of a church creating some kind of entrepreneur programs or opportunities, i.e. coding, where there are certain institutions who are getting our kids coming out of high school, paying them $25, $30 an hour just to do some coding. They have not gotten a degree, but only because they can work this handheld computer. And yet the religious institution, we've become so isolated in glorifying emotionalism that we've forgotten that while we are on our knees and our eyes are closed, they're taking away from us the resources that we are actually into. So I know that's saying a lot about the economics, but you've gotten a little something started here.
Listen, I'm there. I'm with you.
Think of it this way, Brother Malik. On Sunday morning, the 5th largest institution in American history deposits somewhere about 20, 30, million, trillions of dollars from 12 p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. on Monday and Tuesday morning.
Absolutely.
And when those institutions go to apply for certain things in which to enhance community responsibility, they are denied. So then the question becomes, in the words of Farrakhan, in the words of Jesse Jackson, in the words of all of those leaders who have come before us, in the words of Gus Roman, Leon Sullivan, why would you continue to bank with those who devalue you?
Yeah.
And so what we have to look at as far as economics is concerned is the redistribution of our wealth. We have to look at, I think it was Leon Sullivan, they did selective patronage.
Yes.
They did these things, and I firmly believe that we have a blueprint here in the city of Philadelphia. We don't have to go anywhere else looking, but OIC was the blueprint. And if there are churches, you know, who haven't bought into that,
right,
we are creating our own demise.
Now, you have done a tremendous amount of work, not just to theorize this concept and begin to work the hypothesis into a solid conclusion. You're also putting in the work. You're like, no. I'm going to test this by my efforts and collective efforts of the ministry. You have a business where you're saying, not only I'm going to prepare some stuff that's going to make it feel like you're back down home, but I'm also going to employ those who need an opportunity and set them up for success and be able to replicate what we've done. Talk about that business and your journey in that space.
I appreciate that, Brother Malik. We have been on this journey actually for we celebrated 1 year 3 weeks ago.
Congrats.
Thank you so much, good brother. In the year of 2019, my dissertation was entitled, out of Colgate Rochester Crozier Divinity School under Dr. Marvin McMickle. My dissertation was entitled The Reduction of Recidivism of African American Males and Females Through Community-Based Programs.
Wow.
My argument was that there are still businesses and opportunities that institutions, churches, organizations can create to employ what we consider to be returning citizens, or even the hard to employ.
Right.
Even those who have faced discrimination, transgendered, you know, we still have the power to create those kinds of employment opportunities. So my wife and I, along with my kids, we created what is called Southern Flames Barbecue LLC Incorporated, of which I'm proud to say we've been in operation for a year. We just hired a manager, and we will be going into the Chestnut Hill market within the next 30 days. So we are established. And so we will be doing some hiring to employ returning citizens and those who have faced discrimination. The joy behind this is not so much the business, but the joy behind it is that it can be done. It's proven.
Right.
And if we would look at one another, and I say stop using these social taglines. Stop using these condemned ideologies.
Yeah.
And look at people as human beings. We can accomplish that. So I still believe that the church actually has the power to do it. I believe, and when I say church now, I'm speaking more of a plural community.
Yes.
Not just a context of baptized persons. I'm speaking about God's creation. So with that, I think there's a greater love that can be done. And so I still think I know it's possible because it's being tested and the efforts are still proven. It can still be done. And we at this, Brother Malik, off a $500 grant from the city, community activities grant, off a $500 grant, and we haven't had to put any money in it at all.
Wow. God has been faithful indeed.
Yeah.
And for those who don't understand, the Germantown, East Germantown, West and East Mount Airy and Chestnut Hill area all enjoyed a legendary location for ribs. Okay. So you had Lucian Crump on one side, and then you had the Rib Crib on the other. All right. So after you finish being spiritually fed, you can find some folk with the church clothes on waiting for their ribs to be prepared. And so not only is it a smart move by way of community and empowerment of our people, it was a smart business move to return a storied product back to the community. And so now it's not just barbecue sauce on the ribs, it's cooked into the meat, brother. So we have divine delicacy now
Yeah.
coming to Chestnut Hill. And so, broadcast audience, I need you to support. Okay, this isn't just about dollars and cents. Yes, your dollars will help this make sense, but sense for the employment, sense for the building of the kingdom and for the community as well, sense by way of making sure that workforce development is controlled by us, not handed to us. Some of y'all gonna get that on the ride home. That's what the Reverend Dr. J. Henry Buck is doing. And so we'll make sure that we have it on our social media page, but I need you to get a full slab. Not a half slab. Go full. Go full. All right. And make sure. And I'm going to do my thing to lead the effort as well. When they go into Chestnut Hill, we've got to support them. Yes, I said we've got to. Yeah. Y'all understand what I'm saying? We got to get there and make sure that we put our dollars there. I know we got to go. I could talk to you for hours, man. I love you, brother, in the work. I love your mind. Listen, man, I love to just sit with you and glean. But there are some of us that are going through it. We're not talking about it. We're scared to go see a therapist. We're challenged around, the issues of the day, and much of it is internally. We're filing it away, and we're putting on a face when we show up in the church building, or we show up on our Zooms or our workplaces. Some of us are doing it inside with our own families. From your heart to the heart of the city, give us a word to take with us as we go into this weekend and into the next week that will hold us fast to the promise that exists in us.
There is a sacred text of which we subscribe to in the canon, the writing, the wording that we believe is sacred to us. And I know that there are many who have those types of canons or sacred words. But I would just like to quote from the one that I subscribe to, and it simply says, "You're fearfully and wonderfully made."
Yes, sir.
What does that mean? That everything that God has created, everything, and to use the words of Howard Thurman, this ultimate being, everything that has been organized and fashioned about you, in you, around you, over you, under you, is a part of your value. And so there is nothing and no one that can take that away. Even if the contract on your life is torn up, there is someone and something that can restore that can reboot that contract. And even if it's a contract anyway, contracts are broken, but covenants are always kept.
Come on,
and so even if you break your part of the covenant, there is an ultimate being that would always keep his. And I want to share with everyone on today, I know that we're going through, but there is once again another word that is written in that sacred canon. It says, "Yea, though," or "Yes, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death," which means that you are going through it, but you don't stay there.
Right.
So yes, you may have to go through some circumstances or situations. I'm not going to sit here and say it's ordained. I'm not going to sit here and say God wants you to do this. I'm not going to pull those kinds of insults. But what I do know is that what you're going through, there is somebody that's going through it with you. And so in the words of both of my grandmothers, Minnie Lou Buck and Harriet Akerson, "Be not dismayed, whatever betide, God will take care of you. Beneath his wings of love abide, God will take care of you."
Oh, come on, Doc. Listen, now that's the kind of meal that you get when you show up at the legendary Grace Baptist Church. I'm trying to tell somebody, God's got his hand on the Reverend Dr. J. Henry Buck. We're going to make sure that we also post the link to Grace Baptist, the great work that they're doing. If you are in the footprint as they open back up safely under COVID restrictions, I need you to show up. Fill the pew and do it responsibly. On the same token, the online services, the online opportunities to worship and fellowship, you got to get with them there too as well. It will be a blessing to you and yours. Doc, I love you, man. I honor you and I appreciate you for the great
work. Thank you guys so much. Thank you all so much. And once we get the contract date, once we get the opportunity for the opening, we've gotten a lease. I would love to have Heart of the City Radio to broadcast from the location if possible. I know there may be some other restrictions, but I want to make it a personal invitation to you and Heart of the City and Heart of the City Radio, but the Heart of the City listeners. Come out and meet this brother. Come out and meet Brother Malik Boyd. You want to talk about a brother with a fantastic story, a brother who, and if I may, who slept in his car but still has character. A person who has seen the lights shut off, but when the lights were shut off, he was not shut out. Yeah. And so you get the chance to hear this brother. You get the chance to talk to this brother. So Heart of the City Radio is just not a tag name. It is a life experience. And so I invite Brother Malik and his broadcast personnel and all of you. Of course, once we get open, I am asking him to come and do the live broadcast.
I'm going to be there.
Heart of the City Radio.
I'm going to be there. You know, I'm the only restriction is just, you know, if it's etiquette to have a rig in my hand as I'm doing the broadcast. That's the only thing I'm trying to figure out, Doc.
We got you covered, good brother.
Yeah, I just don't want to be on World Star Hip Hop doing this. You know what I mean? Other than that, we are behind you, man.
Thank you guys so much.
And please let the Grace family know we love them and appreciate them as well. And we're going to make sure that those Southern flames turn into an inferno as it relates to economics.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Bless you. Our workers will enjoy that.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Doc.
All right, good brother. Have a good one. Take care, everybody.
So you've heard from the Reverend Dr. J. Henry Buck. He is a blessing, not just to my life. I am so honored that he spent this time. God knew that I needed to talk to a big brother, and whether it was done behind closed doors or done in front of the camera, nonetheless, iron sharpens iron, man. So I need you. If you're feeling down, if you're feeling frustrated about the day, if you're challenged around some of the issues that plague all of us, I encourage you to just get on the phone, talk to a brother. And if you are in a space where you're good, where you're in your up moment, you're on the upside of the hill and mountain, reach out to somebody. Just give them a call and tell them how much you support them, you appreciate them and love them. You'd be surprised what that seed sown will do. J. Henry Buck's voice was a very sweet sound to my ear. I hope that all of our guests today created a sweet sound for your ear, whether in advice, knowledge, wisdom, whatever they provided, however they presented their platform. I hope that you too also benefited from their mission, their work, and their mandate. I need you, if you would be so inclined, to do just one thing for us here at Heart City. I need you to subscribe today. Become a part of the Heart City family. There, you go to the YouTube page, click the link to subscribe, click the little bell to get the notifications. You'll become a part of the Heart City family. You'll get updates, notifications, bonus content, and more. Please, by all means, let's stay in touch this week. Thank you for those who have inboxed us throughout the week, sent us messages of encouragement, support, submitted articles. We love when we get articles from you that lets us know what you desire to talk about and hear perspective on. And for those who have asked us questions about the issues of the day, please continue to do so. We love it. And however we can support and provide resource, we will. You can find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Heart City TV. And as always, feel beautiful, look beautiful, and act beautiful. Why? Because you truly are beautiful. I'll see you next week.